And sometimes I'm given spiritual guides as well. Sometimes I get a lot of ascended masters. I love it when I get Jesus in my healings. I know he's
Yes.
with me because I can smell like the hessian, the rough cloth. That's the feeling.
Wow.
And when Mother Mary comes into my readings and into my healings, the whole room just goes blue. And it's just an amazing, beautiful feeling. And what is best and what is great, especially when I do distance healings, when I can tune in and send the energy and love and work with the angels, and I write up all the messages after I do my distance. Most people come back and they go, "My God, I saw that color, and I thought of that person that you're saying was in my healing," and they have the same similar sights, feelings, tastes, smells of what I did, and that's what just makes me know, we're not crazy. It's happening. It's really, really happening.
Hi, Lauren Grace here, and welcome to the Afterlight Podcast. I'm joined today by Kathy Lather. She has been conducting readings, healings, and workshops on how to bring happiness, love, and security within her clients' lives, all with the help of the angels for over 20 years. Kathy was aware of her spiritual connection and her connection to the angels all her life, but it wasn't until a few weeks before her 30th birthday that she had an encounter with Archangel Michael, that her connection to the divine energy was boosted to an amazing new level. Since then, the angels have been in her life, helping her to connect with people through readings, healings, and workshops. Kathy is passionate about being able to help teach others to discover. I want to keep laughing through this. I'm going to keep this in. Kathy, I feel like the energy is like crazy or something like that. All of a sudden, while I was talking, I went, oh, like I just started getting excited. And then I went, calm down, calm down. Let me read the last part. Kathy is passionate about being able to teach others to discover their amazing spiritual journey and all that is available to them. And Kathy is joining me for the second time here on the show. She was on the show back in 2022, actually, Kathy, I checked, and we had such a good time
Wow.
hanging out together, talking about Archangel Michael. You told me so many hilarious stories. I absolutely loved our connection. And you're back again today to talk about the angels, of course, but we're also going to be talking about how to learn to love yourself. And I'll explain a little bit
Have to
about
love
why we're
yourself.
motivated. Yes, exactly. So welcome to the show. Let me take a breath here. Oh no, oh
Thank you,
no.
Lauren. Thank you for having me back. You can already feel all the energy, and I've already got all these angels in my head already. I can hear it. I'm like, be quiet, be quiet. I'm concentrating. But that's what we love about our job, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And it's so funny, the minute you start to go, oh, wait a minute, there's something at works here. I can feel this tingling and magical sensation that's happening all around us. So who knows what's going to happen in this show, frankly. Kathy and I, we like to be used by service or by spirit. So that's what we're going to be definitely doing. So before we kick
Me
things
too.
off, and hopefully we'll get back on track into some kind of regimented format here, and I'll be able to keep my words straight. Kathy, did you want to do a card for our listener at home to just kind of maybe set the tone for today?
I have my beautiful Archangel Michael cards, the ones I always use. Um,
Love it.
I've been told I'm a different reader because I always shuffle my Archangel Michael cards whenever I do a reading. It's
Yeah.
to help me quiet my mind, open my energies up to the psychic realm. And it's to help the people I read in front of me kind of settle their nerves down because everyone's always anxious when they come for a reading. But I don't actually turn over the cards until the end of the reading because I like to see if they match the messages. So
Oh, that's
I
cool.
love pulling my Archangel Michael cards each day because I really do believe that they're very much you can already feel, I can already feel he's very much in the room and he's already laughing because he knows we're just going to have fun today, Lauren. Oh my God, I love his energy. All right. He was actually telling me I had to do a little reading for you. So when you said pull a card, I kind of think that there might be definitely a message for you here. Okay, they're getting sticky. All right.
Ooh.
All right, let's just see what they're telling me. Oh, I love it. Straight away, they're giving me my beautiful spiritual symbol moving up, falling. It feels like we're all moving up and we're very much heading in a really beautiful way. It feels like we're very much aligning ourselves. And this shift, this energy is so amazing at the moment. Just today, obviously, talking with you, but in our lives, everything feels so much better. So I'm going to just pull the card up so you can see.
Oh,
Oh, I think it's
beautiful.
honor and trust your feelings, isn't it?
Oh, beautiful. Yes, it is.
So honor and trust your feelings. So that's all got to do with our beautiful spiritual connection to divine. And that's really learning to trust how your physical body feels, because then that all interacts, as you know, with all of our energy within our soul, all of our divine connecting and making us feel so good about our choices and so good about everything that we need. And it's quite funny because the card that fell out of the pack for you was, is that go forward fearlessly?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Yes. Thank you.
So
I
that's
wanted a
your
little
message for today.
go forward fearlessly. That's fantastic. It's so
Love it.
funny, I feel like we really get in our own way so often. And I put out a newsletter today to my mailing list. And the message that I led with was there's nothing wrong with you and nothing that needs fixing. And somebody
Mm.
responded to me and they just said, I needed to hear that message today. And one of the things that I think, especially as women, that we do is we're constantly looking for things that we need to fix within ourselves. And I think sometimes we sit in the seat of fear. We sit in the seat of being afraid of what could happen, probably won't happen. And what we do is we end up playing small. And when we can,
Yeah.
kind of go, wait a minute, fear, you talk about it in your beautiful ebook, which is all about top 10
Fear.
tips to learning to love you, right? You talk about, fear being, what's the acronym again?
False evidence appearing real.
Exactly, exactly. But
Yeah,
it
it's
it
just
seems,
false evidence appearing real. That's all it is.
yeah,
It's just, and 9 times out of 10, please don't quote me on statistics, but when you really think about all the things that we worry about, all the things that we go to bed and it makes us lie in bed and keep us awake, most of the times those things don't come to fruition because
no.
we're very smart and we don't want to bring those things into our life. So if something is worrying us or making us lose sleep or feel very anxious, by acting on it now, most times we don't bring that fear into our lives. It's really just false evidence appearing real. And it's got a lot to do with, sadly, as you said, the perception of what people think we should look like, should act like, should be. And women are, we're people pleasers. We really are.
Mm.
Um, we tend to put other people before ourselves, which is not a good thing. It took me a long time to be able to look in the mirror and go, you're sexy, you're great, you're beautiful, just the way you are. And
Yeah.
it's just made my life so happy. Yes, I've had lessons and you've learned those lessons, but they were worth it. I can look at myself as a person and with my beautiful connection with spiritual helpers, angels, guides,
Mm.
divine, whatever you want to call it, it just makes your life better and it makes your lessons easier.
Yeah, that's so beautiful because you're in tune with yourself, aren't you? And what? I think sometimes we forget that we're not actually here on earth to suffer. We're here to thrive. And when you were speaking earlier, the quote that came to mind for me was, why worry? It probably won't happen anyway. It's like,
Exactly. And yet we always do because we're
yeah.
taught to worry about money. We're taught to worry about how we affect other people. We're always taught never to receive. We're always taught to give, 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 give. Um, yeah, you really have to kind of have a look at your life and how and the things that are making you anxious or worried or fearful and just, break them down. Baby steps are great. It's a
Mm.
fun tool.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we think too much, that we start to believe the thoughts that we have, we start to believe the story that we're telling ourselves. And when we go, well, maybe what's something that I can do to feel a bit better in this moment? Or what's something that I can do to kind of to shift the energy around? Today I was out walking and I didn't have the best sleep last night. So I felt like I was a bit of a zombie as I'm walking around outside. And I was listening to Gabby Bernstein and a couple of her
Oh, I love her.
meditations. I love her so much as well. And she was one of her meditations was so beautiful, Kathy, and it was talking about how I've only listened to it today, so I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it was basically about how we're in trust and we're in faith. And there was this beautiful piano music, and I was just closed my eyes for a moment and I looked up and there was this beautiful rainbow and the cows, in the property beside us, sitting with this rainbow. And I just went, and that's what it was all about. I needed to just, instead of kind of getting in my own way, I needed to shift the narrative and take my power back. Yeah.
And that's a perfect way to, whenever you are feeling stuck or in a bad place, like there are so many little tricks and things we can do. As long as you're understanding the triggers that make you feel not good, or understanding that you need to shift that energy. If you understand energy, you rule the world. Everything in this place is energy. We're just enclosed in the meat suit, in the physical body. But if you understand energy, you can change everything in your life. And I'm a really big believer in that. Of course, we do have other things with the soul family we chose to come into. We do have all of our DNA and everything. But once you understand energy, how to bring joy to yourself, how to shift your energy, how to make your energy work better for you, you always will find that self-love, self-acceptance a lot easier for you. You'll start to feel safer, more secure. You'll start to bring more love into your lives, because it's energy's frequency. When you raise your frequency, when you shift the energy, you're so much better. It's I know we're probably talking very much like so many other people have talked about it, but each person is an individual. Each person needs to find their way of understanding it so they can impact it and bring it into their world. And that's why I believe there's so many wonderful people like us, Lauren. They're just wanting to share, because it's so exciting when you have it, when you understand it, and when you bring it into your world. And it's really quite exciting to be able to share that knowledge with people. That's why I really do believe, I mean, I am the angel lady. People come to me because I work more with angels. I love that. But I talk to many other different spiritual helpers and guides as well, but I do tend to go towards angels, because angels are very soft, they're very loving, it's very peaceful energy. And I really feel that my life purpose here is to help people find their own journey, find their own way of understanding where they are right now and how to make it better. So one lesson self-love, the rest is understanding energy, self-acceptance, how to fix energy in their life, how to make it better. We've all heard it, the same things, the same all over again, but it's how you find your way. Like, you do beautiful workshops as well with how to help for people to understand energy, how to understand their mindset, how to click over into a better space. So it's really, it's cool. We all understand the main thing, but we have a different way of teaching it, releasing it, understanding it.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes as well, we have to be open to hearing the message at that time, or we have to be, paying attention. I'm sure this has happened to you, but I know before I've heard, things from people, and I'll say to my partner, "Oh, I heard blah, blah, blah." He goes, "I've been telling you that for years." I'm like, "Oh, right." Right.
You weren't ready.
Yeah, exactly. It's such an interesting thing. And I think when we can be patient and graceful and compassionate with ourselves along the journey, that we can start to really tap into that. One of the things that was coming to mind when you were talking was about how we kind of navigate these challenges in our lives. And I think that a big part about our being able to navigate them is to be able to honor ourselves, like you were talking about there. Have you read Anita Morjani's book, Dying to Be Me, or have you listened to it?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure you're going to tell me, so I'll have another book to
Yes.
add to the pile. I
Yeah,
love
it's
books. I
so
love it.
good. Me too. I listened to it on audiobook. I don't know why, but for a long time I went, "Oh, I've got to read that," because Wayne Dyer would always talk about this book. Anyway,
Yeah.
so spoiler alert, in this book, and I've talked about it a few times on the show, and I've talked about it because I feel it's so important to share the secret of why we're here, y'all. So this is what it was. It was about listening to your heart and following your own
Yeah.
inner truth and honoring yourself and being who you are. And I feel that, like you said, we've heard this message so many different ways, but it's when we can really start to become that message and really honor that. and start to listen to the truth that our heart whispers, that's when we can step into our power, move forward fearlessly, but also we enable people around us to do the same.
That's very true. And what's so exciting is that with all these, I mean, obviously we all love Louise Hay and Wayne Dwyer, and you know, I'm obviously a lot older than you, Lauren, so I have been on this journey for a lot longer, and I've read probably some people who you're like going, I vaguely remember that name. But what's really exciting is that we're getting so many new people that we can look to, and this new generation. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm in love with Tyler Henry. I just
Oh, me
love and
too.
adore him, just
Me
love and
too.
adore him. And he makes me feel so normal because his story is so very much similar to mine. But I just love the way that he has come out, and he has just made everything feel like it's okay. Like when I used to talk to my angels 20 years ago, people used to look at me and go, does she need to
Yeah.
talk to someone? Do we need to worry about this?
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays it's so much more open, accepted. People are very much striving and wanting to understand it. There's no barriers. And we are so lucky because we have the internet, we have so many sources, we can
Yeah.
grab so much information. I'm pretty sure you have got lots of different free sources on your webpage and on your web
I do. Yep.
podcast.
And
You
you
always
do
talk
too.
about different things.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so exciting that there are these things out there. I mean, when I first started going to workshops, and, you know, the books were all $45 each, and, you know, the workshops are all like $2,000, Reiki $10,000. And it was really quite, it did stifle you a little bit in how much you can learn. But
Of course.
now questions are there. We can just jump online when we're feeling down, when we need to know, why am I feeling like this? What is the spiritual meaning for this? I mean, I love it. I love having all this information where you can just jump on and it can make you feel better. But of course, you have to remember that you have to pay attention once again to your physical body, how your physical body feels about what you're reading, what you're taking on, how you feel, if the energy feels right, if it feels good. That's
Yes.
what you follow. If you read it and you go, funk, get away from it. It's not for you. So
Yes.
it's brilliant that we have to trust the physical plus the beautiful, our beautiful soul, our beautiful spirit within inside, because that will always lead us to our highest good. And it's really exciting, because don't you think that your life, I don't know about you, but my life is just every year gets better and better and better. And
Yeah.
yes, there are times in our lives where we go, "Urgh," but because we have this beautiful connection, our lessons aren't as bad. So every year we just improve, and I feel we raise our vibration and we love ourselves that little bit more, and we teach our family and our friends and everything how to raise their vibration as well. And that's what it's all about to me. That excitement, waking up and going, yes, I feel really good. Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just every day you learn something new. Even in
Yeah.
all my readings and in workshops, you meet amazing people, and they might just say, as you said, one or two sentences, and you go, oh my God, that's perfect. That fits me to a
Yeah.
T. That's what I've been looking for.
That's funny because when you were talking, number one, I feel like Archangel Michael popped in and he was like, "You can also just give me a call on the phone. Like, you don't have to go to a course or read a book to do that. You just give me a ring,
Oh
you
no,
know?"
you just connect, you just yell, woohoo,
Yeah.
and you don't have to take out, you don't have to say it. This is what I tell everyone, you don't have to take it out a billboard and tell everyone you're talking to dead people and to angels. You know, you don't have to share that with the world. It's a
Yeah.
very private thing. So I know some people get really hung up with the word prayer. You can pray, you can chat, you can do affirmations, you can, you know, talk away, you can release everything, and they'll be there, they'll be listening.
What I love
So
about
yeah.
that as well is sometimes I'll say, "Oh, I had this great idea." In the back of my mind, I go, "I know it's not from me. I know," but how else do I explain it? Oh yeah, like a spirit just dropped in this really cool idea. Let me share it with you. So
Yeah, I
I do
know.
take credit for
And I love
certain
it
things.
with Michael because he's got a really good sense of humor. He's got a really dry sense of humor. So when you because he's constantly especially when I'm doing my work, I love it because he knows he's like my, security guard, my bouncer. So he's always dropping in and checking in on me. And I can definitely hear the different with Michael. I hear the different tone in his voice because I believe I spoke to Michael when I had my encounter with him, and that's the reason why his voice sounds very different to all the other voices when I do my readings. But he's always so funny, and he always pulls me back in. He's like, you're going out there a bit too much. I gave you this great idea, but pull the reins back in and let's make it work. Let's not just fly so high. But yeah, he's great, and I love it. Even when I do my distance readings, like I knew he was around you because you had a beautiful flash of like your color changed, your screen went a different, and that's when you know your energy with your distance readings and your distance work, when the angels and when you have loved ones around, because they affect everything. They're really clever with technology because it's energy. And I'm like, okay, she's just got someone with her. So that's really, really cool. So now we know it was Michael and he was having a good time.
Yes, that's so
Don't
good. I
like it
work
though
with
when
him.
you turn on the TV at 2 o'clock in the morning though. Sorry.
Cancel that. Yeah, no, thank you. I wanted to share with you this little thing that I learned recently because I thought it was so good. And just for a listener at home, if you're new to the show, normally what I do is I go back with my guests, find out how their spiritual journey started. Kathy is a really unique story, but because we covered it off in our first episode together, I wanted to make sure that we used our time today to talk about other things. So I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes, though, if you'd like to go back and find out how Kathy really started and how her relationship with Archangel Michael kicked off, because it's one for the ages. You really want to listen to it. So
Thank you.
I was listening to a recent episode with Gabby Bernstein and Radley Valentine. Have you heard that one? It's a new one. Okay.
No, I haven't.
This is so cool. I just think I got to talk to my angel sister here about this because I think you will love this idea. So Radley Valentine was telling her about how he created this idea, and it's called the Angel Prescription. And basically what he does is, depending on what it is you want to attract or work on in your life, he'll recommend an angel to be in he'll create a quadrant around you, or like in your mind's eye, you do like a square around you. And then you have an angel in each corner, depending on what it is you want to work on. So in this particular situation, he was saying, let's use an example of somebody who wants to attract more abundance and wealth into their life. So number one, in the back left, you've got Archangel Michael, who's there helping you with strength, protection, life purpose. In the back right, you're going to have Archangel Uriel, who's there to help you with transformation and navigating challenges. In the top, in the front right, you're going to have Raguel, who is helpful with people, introducing you to helpful people and helping you with your relationships. And then in the top left, you've got Ariel, who's got, connection to the spirit world, to nature and animals, but at the same time, material abundance as well. And so you kind of imagine these angels around you. And so since I heard that, when I'm on my walk, I'll be like, all right, get my people all in the back, got my people in the front, right? And I just kind of feel like I've got this army with me. How does it work for you with your angels? You're talking about how they're around you all the time. You've got Archangel Michael. For our listener who's not watching our video at the moment, you do keep looking to the right when you're kind of communicating with Michael. And I do the same as well, because you've got that masculine energy on the right-hand side. But how do your angels show up to you? Do you feel like you have a bit of an armory, a bit of an angel posse that's around you?
I most certainly do. I'm very, very lucky. So Michael is obviously, I feel like he is just my main man. I'm not going to lie to you. He's like my bodyguard, and he is just great because he keeps me very much grounded. He is always with me. I know I share him with the world. I'm not being greedy, but Michael's like when we tell kids about Santa Claus, you think about them, he's there, that magical energy. Everybody can call in Michael. And he is just so funny. He is just always in the back of my head. He gives me like really bad dad jokes when I need it to lift me up. He is the person who makes me feel like we all have the days when we go, am I meant to be doing this? We all have, we're normal. We're human. That's what we're here for. And we all have the days where we go, oh, I don't think that day was my best. And then you have days that just, you knock it out of the ballpark. But that's when he's there and you can feel him rubbing your shoulders. You can feel him saying, look how beautiful your wings are. You were meant to be here. You're an earth angel. He's in the back of your head. I have Archangel Gabriel with me quite a lot. And I always I know that they're not meant to be male, female, but I always sense her as female because she's always my muse. Whenever I'm working on ideas, workshops, even that lovely putting up your posts on social media, getting inspiration, I
Yeah.
call on her. She's very much there. I always have beautiful Raphael because I love to do energy healings with the angels, and he is very much always within my home because I love to send, and I always have healing books for all my clients. And if anybody ever wants to go on my healing book, please just send me a little email. But I always do, I always call on my beautiful angels. And of course, you call on different angels when you need different things. And guess what? They normally come to me. I'm not that clever to know which angel to come. I will always see angels whenever I do readings on people. And if I'm looking in the mirror, I'll see little twinkles of color. And then I go, if I don't know what that is, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know all the archangels.
I was
But if
gonna
there's a new
ask, because
color,
sometimes you're like, yeah.
no, I'm not that clever. I'm the lazy psychic. I don't like to study. I'm very basic. I come do my meditation, I tune in, and then I just give the messages. I'm really just a big antenna. But I will go and research, and then I'll be very grateful because I'll know which angel has come in. And sometimes I'm given spiritual guides as well. Sometimes I get a lot of ascended masters. I love it when I get Jesus in my healings. I know he's with me because I can smell like the hessian, the rough cloth. That's the feeling.
Wow.
And when Mother Mary comes into my readings and into my healings, the whole room just goes blue. And it's just an amazing, beautiful feeling. And what is best and what is great, especially when I do distance healings, when I can tune in and send the energy and love and work with the angels, and I write up all the messages after I do my distance, most people come back and they go, my God, I saw that color, and I thought of that person that you're saying was in my healing, and they have the same similar sights, feelings, tastes, smells of what I did. And that's what just makes me know, we're not crazy. It's happening. It's really, really happening. And we're meant to be working with divine, beautiful, universal life energy. We are meant to have an understanding of energy. We're meant to be able to call on these beautiful spiritual beings to help us have an easier life down here, because we came here for good things. We came here for lots of naughty food. We came here for good wine. We came here for good relationships. So yes, we came here to learn lessons, but if we still include our beautiful family, and I always think of them as our family, because all you have to do is go, oi, I need you. They're there, right? So they're here to help you, and they're here to make your life feel so much better. I mean, it's sad when you read about so many things that are happening in the world, in your own community as well as out there. And you just have to trust and obviously ask them for help. So we all know how amazing prayer is. We all know that when the community gets together and there is a problem, and we all send wishes, we all send healing, we all send thoughts, miracles happen, because miracles aren't limited. Miracles happen every day, and people forget that. People forget about the magic in the world, and there's so much magic. It's amazing. I did a reading for this gentleman the other day. It's so funny when men come in. I shouldn't say that, but most men don't normally come in for a reading, and it was very sad. This man had lost his wife, and his wife's girlfriend dragged him to me. You could tell he didn't want to be there, but in the reading, I was obviously getting correct information because I brought his beautiful wife in and she was giving me everything, and he was like, how did you know that? Yes, that's right. But what astounded him the most is who was with his wife. I said to him, there is a young man, and I gave an age, and I said, I'm seeing Thomas the Tank Engine. So is Thomas a name that you would recognize? And he just broke down in tears.
Oh my God.
It was his son who was a stillborn. So he knew his wife was connected now to their son. And that's what made that reading real to him. Not the fact that I could get everything about his wife, her name, how she died, all about the family and the things, but the very fact that he knew now who she was with, and that was it. That's all he needed to know. So he was actually in a really good place. But it's always interesting watching men. It's like they have to get dragged into the reading room. And they're like, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to make eye
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, he was very grateful. So yeah, that's what makes our world so good, that connection.
It's so beautiful. And I love hearing the stories. The stories for me always just floor me. I love witnessing them myself. I love seeing them, hearing them, being a part of it. It's, one of the things that I think about is like how somebody's life is irrevocably changed when they learn that we don't die, that we just shapeshift, and that there's
I
all these people
know.
that they love that are waiting for them on the other side and that are here now, but are waiting for them when it's their time to
Well,
go.
you're an amazing reader. You would have that. You would have the readings. I mean, I know I say to everybody, and I'm actually very grateful. I don't actually remember people's readings. You do
Yeah.
remember the really aha ones.
Powerful
You remember
ones.
the ones that really you can see the change. You can see the actual grief lift from their face because they know that their loved one is still very much alive and well, just not physically in this world, right?
Yeah.
And there's more angels flashing around you right there, right then.
Beautiful.
But it's such a beautiful feeling knowing that you've helped people in that time, because grief is just an awful emotion. It's so sad. I mean, we're very lucky. My mother always laughs. My mum, I'm very lucky. She's a very mature lady, and she plans to be here for quite some time. I'm sure she will. She's very strong-minded, but she's always telling me, when I go, I'm in your head every day. You're going to be so sorry about this, and she's so funny. But yeah, I'll be very open with it. I'll be like, yes, that's fine, but boundaries, mum, boundaries. So yeah. I
Yeah,
love the fact that I'll be
absolutely.
able to still connect in with her and have that beautiful. We always have the best chats, and I'm sure that they're going to continue on with until she's there and she'll meet me when I get to the other side. So until we meet again. So
Have
that's what
you
it's
had,
always all
and
about.
feel free to not answer this question also. I did have somebody ask me one time if as a medium I worry about death, or I you know feel that I would grieve the same way. And I believe that I still would, because I'm still human. And even though I know we live
Yeah.
on, I haven't had many people close to me pass. So I haven't really had to experience that. What about for you? When you talk about your mom being
Yes.
here, I mean,
I'm really lucky. I seem to have a very long longevity.
yes, me
I mean,
too.
my great grandma lived into the hundreds. My grandparents lived into their 90s. My parents are in their 80s. I have not lost a person like, we read for people who lose their parents really, really young, and that would be just heartbreaking. Um, I don't think I'm scared of death. When I was diagnosed with cancer and I was told, this is pretty serious, you should start to get your affairs in order, I went into, no, bugger you, this isn't happening. I've got an 8-year-old kid, that's not happening. And I just went into full goddess energy mode of, this is not taking me anywhere. And I'm still here 15 years later. So I'm very proud of that. But I did it with both with medicine and with my beautiful holistic and spiritual healers. I do believe that to this day. When I do lose someone like a close friend or a grandparent, yes, I do grieve. We're human, as you said, we go through the same emotions. We're not going to be able to hug that person. We're not
Yeah.
going to be able to ring up that person and go, Nana, how do I get that famous Christmas cookie recipe that you took to the
Yeah.
grave with you?
Yeah.
But
Damn it, Nana.
but yeah, I still very much connect in with them. I still very much get messages from them. I'm very blessed because my grandparents both sets, and I didn't think my father's mother would very much be in my readings because she wasn't. That wasn't really my spiritual side. My dad's very much, you're a pack of charlatans. You're all crazy. And yet when I give him messages from his mother, he's like, oh, and his father. This is quite funny, but yeah, and it's great. They drop in, you can feel them, you can sense them, you know exactly who it is and who's there. They help me with my readings all the time. I mean, every time I get a person's grandmother in a reading, I know if they're called a nana or a grandma because I'll see the face of my nana or I'll see the face of my grandma, and
So cool.
and people love it when you get the right name for their grandma. Um, it's just bizarre the way spirit works with me. I must have a very interesting mind because they have to really do weird things. I get a lot of celebrities in my readings because they're the names,
The
because
names,
I
yeah, that's
don't
cool.
see the written names. So the other day, I was doing a reading and I kept seeing Dylan from 90210. You know, heartthrob, probably too young, aren't you? But I kept
No,
saying,
I
I kept
remember.
saying Dylan,
I
Dylan,
remember.
and I'm sure it was, yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, that was my son's name. And the other day I saw Boy George in a reading, and I'm like, why am I seeing Boy George? And she just cried. That was my nephew, Georgie. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
as I feel silly saying the things, but as long as the person who's getting the reading can understand why they're trying to get me that message, I'm happy, because that means that the connection's coming through. But we all read different ways. So
Yeah, that's so
very
beautiful, but it's really trusting. That's definitely it. And I think a big part about, trusting is also our getting to know ourselves and getting to know that whatever it is that we're doing, we know it's coming from a high integrity level. We know that we're doing the best that we can. All that we can do is give the information that we receive, because the minute we start to edit it or to tell the story, that's when it
wrong.
starts to get muddled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and a big part of that is learning to love yourself, isn't it? It's learning to love
Yeah.
yourself, accept yourself as you are. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that as well, because I do feel that. So you have this beautiful ebook that's available on your website, and I'll put a link to that as well in the show notes. And it's
Thank you.
called Learning How to Love You. And one of the things that you did in the book, which I thought was beautiful, and by the way, the minute you start reading it, you do feel like you're in there's all this love all around you. You're surrounded in this love, and there's this peacefulness and this almost this understanding the minute that you're reading it, that the person who's authored it really knows where you're at. So I really want to commend you in that, because that energy really came through really strongly. One of
Thank
the
you,
things,
because I do know I'm not the best with grammar and spelling, so I really do kind of believe that they are very much channeled.
yes, but the
So thank you for
feeling
that.
was really also undeniable. So, the words are important, of course, but you also get this healing feeling when you're reading it, which I think is kind of takes it to another level. I mean, I've heard of people go before, I think it was actually Wayne Dyer talked about, if you just hold the book, you'll already get a benefit. And I'm like, what?
Oh, I
But
love
because
that.
of the energy within something. And that's what I think a
Mm.
big part about what some of the work is in the world being put out, such as yours. So you talk about different tips to really assist us in falling in love with ourselves. I guess my question to you is, are there also angels that can assist us with that, or is this something that we need to do on our own?
No, you have got so many spiritual helpers and angels up there. Please call them in. So many. I know we're very much on the same wavelength, okay? Because we love to get extra love and help, and we'll call it in. We don't have a problem. But there are so many people out in the world, which is very sad, and they don't see the magic in the world. They don't understand there is so much more. And so they don't use their angels. So it's almost like you've got a huge, great big Centrelink department up there of angels that aren't working. And they're very sad and they're very down. And they're like, why don't they use me? Why aren't they letting me in? So they will jump hop into yours. So even if I've never met anyone who's had just one guardian angel, they've always had more. And
Hmm.
you can use and call in more spiritual guides and helpers. So if you are having an issue with something, ask for an angel to be given to you to help, to assist, and then just sit within it and start asking questions. You'll get answers back, really short, sweet answers. Could be yes and no, could be you might see a picture of a celebrity, you might be as wacky as me, but you can find that person's name and then just sit with their energy, and they will help you find love for self. There are when people ask me about their love life, I always see little Cupid angels coming in. But
Cherubs?
if you wanted to call in the Cupid angels, I always know, like when people walk in my door and I see the little Cupids, I go, oh, you're here for your love life today. And they go, oh, how did you know? And I go, because you got all these little Cupid angels around you. So by all means, call in the love angels. Call in, yeah, they're so cute. Call in the angel of love. I wouldn't know the ascended master or the archangel too, but by all means, we have all these wonderful ways of looking things up like that. But they would be more than happy to help you. Truly, I would be scooping as many angels into your life as that you could. Just, be greedy. Just go, come, work with me, make my life better. There are people
Yes.
out there who know how
Ah,
to work energy and how to understand how to ask for divine guidance and help. And they're the ones that are doing very, very well. They're the ones that are really, really happy. They might not be living in mansions, but they're still extremely happy. So I'd
that
be
really
calling
helps
in as
me.
many.
Yeah, that really helped me, Kathy. Thank you very much. For our listener at home, Kathy just threw down a real negative wisdom. I'm going to break it down for you real fast. So think about different categories in your life. So, for example, let's say clients, let's say health, let's say revenue, let's say ideas, let's say helpful people, inspiration, whatever. Think about it in terms of different categories. And then what you could literally do, and I just started writing this down. I was like, okay, so if I have a little box for a different item like clients, well, the angel I'm going to call in to maybe assist me with that is Raguel. Maybe if it's love, you might invite in, let's say, Shamuel, or I'm sure there are other
Oh,
ones.
yes.
That's the main one that I know.
No, Samuel, yes.
Yeah, Shamuel will be the main one, but then there would be other ones for different things. Joe Fiel to help you with positive ideas and look at things and like with the beautiful mind and stuff like that. So, but you don't always have to know, because the fact of the matter is that if your intention's out there, so I want help with a car, I want help with manifesting a da da da, you can put it out there, and then essentially you're saying to the universe, okay, bring me the perfect candidate, and then the perfect candidate shows up, and you may never know their name. And it doesn't matter, because you can feel their help, or you can just start
Yeah.
to see these synchronicities and things that start to happen for you. But I love almost breaking it down into categories, because in a way, what I tend to do is I go, assist me with, and then I'll insert like a generic statement. So abundance, or, something like that. But actually, I know specifically what it is that I'm looking for. So breaking it down, I think, helps us clarify our order a little bit better.
They love it when we tell them exactly what we want. We can be as in depth
Yes.
as we want. And the more that you give more information about what you need and how you need it, the more precise you're going to receive your signs, your flow, your how you manifest that into your life. Like, don't get me wrong, you're not going to win lotto. Okay. I'm really sorry. That is something that is in your book of life. And everyone who comes for a reading goes, oh, am I going to win lotto? I go, well, did you put it in your book of life? Because there's always a lesson included with winning large sums of money.
Yes.
But they can help you with abundance. Now, we create our own abundance. All right. So, yes, they might give you the winning lotto numbers. Bravo. But that would have already been written down in your book of life. You would have already said, I need to be a multi-millionaire, or I need to be a multi-billionaire. Most people who are very happy with their way of money in their life, they worked hard for it. They've come up with really good ideas and thoughts. They've come up with ways that bring them joy. And I think that is an awesome way of getting money. I mean,
Yes.
I would
To
love
be
to
of
be able to tell you,
service.
I know what it's like to win a million, but I can tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
I got a lesson the other day because I was feeling very dirty because I wanted to win some money. And I'm like, this would actually hurt. This would, if I actually won money, I should know, because you guys, I'm talking to you every day, and you should be able to help me manifest this. I want to make a win. I really want to win this. I really want to get this. And so I went to bed 4 nights in a row. I had a dream. First dream was I'm going to win the grand prize of Set for Life. I woke up and went, okay, I'll have that. Second dream was the numbers. So I got up and I wrote those numbers down. Third night was when I had to put in the ticket and how I was had to put in the ticket. And then the fourth night, I dreamt on the day that I would receive the email. I was told if I put it in on Tuesday online, I would get an email Thursday morning saying I was a winner. Guess what? I got an email
What?
on Thursday morning saying I was a winner, but I didn't win the $20,000 a month. I won $20.
So were
And
you
I
not
could hear Michael
specific, or
laughing. He was like, you know better than to ask us for this. You
that's
know
funny.
better. You can create this in your world another way. You
Yeah.
did not request this to come like this. So they still joke with us. They still laugh with us. We
That's
still
great.
want money. Everybody, it's energetic. We bring money to us. But they just say, why be greedy? You get everything you want. They always give me all, and they always give me more than enough for my clients. And I'm very beautiful. I have gorgeous friends that recommend me. I have beautiful clients that recommend me. I'm always hitting what I need for that week. So I'm very, very lucky in that way.
Mm.
So it was a bit of a lesson for me. So isn't it nice that they still give us lessons?
Yes, yes. And gentle, graceful lessons with humor. That's what I always put it out there. If I'm asking for something, I'll go for my highest good, for the highest good of all concern. And then sometimes I'll say, if it's not meant to be, show me with grace and humor and joy, because I don't want to learn hard lessons. I've learned hard lessons before, and I'm okay to learn it from $20 versus, some other way. But while you were talking there, it
And
made me
really
think
good
about
night's sleep.
yeah, made me think about the subconscious. So one of the things that I felt that you were doing is you were putting the intention out there when you went to bed that you wanted to attract this. It was clear that you had put that out there. Um, when I've done that before, given my subconscious a job, what ends up happening is I wake up with the answer, or I wake up with some
Answer.
clarity
Yeah.
on something. Do you find the same works for you? Sounds like it.
All the time. All the
Yeah.
time. Um, I I'm pretty lucky. I don't get to sleep very long. I'm like a 6, 7 hour girl. And my husband claims that when I do go down deep, the drawers go in and out with the snoring. But obviously I'm a very deep sleeper. But that's all I seem to need because I love working. I work for myself. I like to read. I like to do all my workshops, later in the evening and things like that.
Mm.
So that to me is my magical time. And then I tend to like check out about 12, wake up at about 7. But if I have an issue or a problem, I will actually write it down. I'm a writer. I'm a girl that has to list things on paper. And then I just go, it's done, it's dusted, it's there. Please give me the answer. And then the next morning I'll wake up and I'll have that and I'll go, right. And then I just write it on the piece because I'll forget. So I have
Of
to write it
course.
on a piece of paper so I know to fix it. So yeah. But
Yeah.
everybody should have pen and paper by their bed because if you do wake up or if you can't go to sleep, if you release that negative thoughts or negative energy by writing it on a piece of paper, you've done
Mhm.
all that you can do right then. And then you go to sleep. Most people will find that they'll get the answer the next day, just as you do, because you go, use the mind the
Yes.
right way. The mind's amazing and we don't use it enough.
Yeah, well, I think we don't love it enough probably, right? It's in a way because we believe we are our thoughts, so we don't realize that. It's interesting. I was listening to this book by Michael Singer. It was about the untethered soul, but it wasn't the book. It was like a course. I have to listen to it again. But he was talking about how when things happen to us, situations in our lives and whatnot, that we have these emotions, right? And sometimes they can be trapped in our body. But what the mind does is it helps us to process these things
Yeah.
out of our body. And so the mind really is this beautiful tool, this beautiful, instrument to allow us to really dissolve the things that may be sitting in our hips or our heart or our thighs or wherever that they're sitting that emotion. And so when we're working things out, it's just the mind is dissolving this sort of stuff, transmuting things. But I think sometimes one of our challenges is that we go, I don't want to think these thoughts, or these thoughts are negative, or, a big part of my journey was I started with in my, late teens, I had a lot of body image issues for a long time. And I mean, swimming's one of my favorite things. I never swam for like 7 years because of my body image issues, all that sort of stuff. And that stuff to me, none of that bothers me at all because I learned to change my thoughts. I learned to change my thoughts, the negative thoughts, to go, oh, I see that, and then replace it with something positive that felt truthful. And then over time, that really just became my truth. But I think sometimes still as humans, what we do is we put a lot of effort and a lot of emphasis into the things that we think. And sometimes it's not like a nice place to be. So how do you kind of learn to love your mind? You're talking about how powerful it is. How do you learn to embrace some of maybe the
Well,
negativity or things like that? And you talked earlier too about Gabriel, who can help with clarity, communication, mind, ideas, things like that?
I am no skinny mini, as you can see. So growing up, I was always the little fat kid at school that talked to dead people. So I had it really
Talk to dead
hard
people.
from day one. Okay. So I was always very round. And my great grand, she said, Kathy, you're very drawn to sugar because it grounds you. That's the reason what stops you from floating off and keeps you on this planet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna run with that. My nana told me to look at a Tim Tam every time I ate it as a carrot, so that I'm transmuting the right energy in. But I can't, I'm not that good with the mind as yet. But I have, just as you said, I've had to really break down. I actually have done a lot. And what I really love is everything that we have been talking about, all of our what they class as woo-woo, new age, spiritual, everything that we know within our hearts about our beautiful energy and our different bodies. Science is just catching up with us, right? And they're finally understanding the way the brain works compared to the mind and the subconscious and the conscious. We knew all about that a long time ago. But I love the fact now, because you have the people that come and they're very logical and they don't understand how we go into this beautiful dream state. That's what Nana used to call it. And now it's called, I think it's theta, because we've gone down from the beta to the
Yes.
theta. And we can show them logically, this is how the physical body works with the spiritual body. This is why we are here and why we can create the life that we want, and why we can actually learn to love the old physical body, the old meat suit. It's an amazing thing. And
It
when
is.
you learn how amazing it is, I mean, doesn't it? It gets rid of dead cells, it remakes blood, it creates I mean, really, we could be here for a long
It's
time. There are some people who
extraordinary.
live well into the hundreds if we really choose to, if we really choose to eat well and be
But
really
like you said,
kind
with
to
a
the old
healthy
physical.
glass of wine, a good glass of wine and some snacks along the way, or whatever you said
That's what
earlier.
we want. That's what we came here for. Like, come on. This is meant to be the hardest place to learn lessons because we kill each other. We want the good stuff. But
Yeah.
it's you when you actually learn how to quiet that brain, because the brain is a good thing. We love the brain. The brain tells the body, heart, keep pumping, breathe in and out, don't get killed on a road. The brain is our friend, but the brain can also not be our friend when it overtalks our beautiful mind, our mind which never dies, our mind who's aligned with our soul, because it's our mind, our subconscious and our conscious, that helps us go into those different planes and different realities, right? So we have to learn to shut that up, because that's like the nagging, the nagging best friend that always thinks they know what's best for you. So when
Yeah.
you learn how to love both, and then the brain will always, the brain doesn't want you to get upset. It doesn't want you to get bullied. It doesn't want you to get picked on. But when you have to override that and go, you just do the job you're meant to do, and I'm going to live within my beautiful mind, and I'm going to remove all the negativity, and I'm going to bring forth all the love, and I'm going to fall in love with me exactly the way I am, because I am an amazing being. I am an amazing spiritual being. I'm an amazing physical being. My body has never let me down. And even people, because I had one person turn around and say, well, how can you say that? There are awful diseases. There are people who are trapped in bodies that don't serve them as well as you. That's very true. But we can still connect with those people with their mind. I have connected with people who are unable to speak, unable to move. They are great. They are cheeky. They are funny. You can sit there. I have a girlfriend, sadly, he's just passed on, but her brother was in a wheelchair, and I would go and I would have long chats, and I would tell them everything they were doing wrong and what was annoying him and what he liked and what he wanted. It's just like talking to spirit, talking to animals. We all connect. It's using energy. It's using your beautiful mind. I've probably gone off track here, sorry. But once you understand your beautiful mind and how you use it and how you can bring the best to the best, bring it forward and just see the love in it, it'll just come up in you. You'll start to love you. You'll start to like everything about you. You'll start thinking about, you know, I have got a good rack. Yes, one's bigger than the other because I've had cancer on the left side, but I'm still going to let them out there and have a good time. I'm going to feel great. I am a beautiful person. It took
Yeah.
me a long time. I can remember my nana used to say to me all the time, find the bits that you like yourself. And she used to go, you
Yes.
have
Yes.
beautiful lips. You have gorgeous almond eyes, Kathy. Kids in the playground would go, no, you haven't, you're squinty. No, my nana said they're almond.
Oh,
You have to
beautiful.
grab those little bits of beautiful knowledge that's passed on to you, and you then start to find them, and you really start to fall in love with you. I do readings for people, and they have enhanced so much about themselves physically, and they're beautiful people, beautiful, beautiful women, and they walk in the door and I think, oh, I would have died to look like that when I was 20. And yet they seem to have so much heartbreak, so much sadness. And I'm just like, you've got to fix this, right? You've got to fix within before you can fix this. And guess what? When you fix within, doesn't matter because this is
Doesn't
really good and
matter.
beautiful anyway.
Yeah. One of the things that I find is that over my life, I've really grown into, and I actually think in the last year or two, it's become stronger for me, my self-love. And I feel that, I can look in the mirror at myself and I can look into my eyes and I just think how beautiful I see my heart. And I
Yeah.
think, like you're talking about when we train ourselves to see the imperfections. I remember last year or something, I went to get a facial, might have been the year before, and I had like a rash on part of my cheek. And my esthetician said, oh, we'll just do this for the rash. And I didn't even know I had that. Like I hadn't even noticed it because I'm too busy
You're
staring at
beautiful.
my eyes and seeing my heart. So, but like you're saying, it's a bit of a journey, isn't it? And the word that you didn't say that I heard you say was intention as well. It's deciding, you know what? I'm going to be aware that sometimes I have a brain that maybe says things that I wouldn't rather it, but I'm going to maybe witness it through my mind. I'm going to step back. I'm going to notice it. I'm going to allow it to run its course or not and replace it, or I'm going to do something to kind of nurture that and start to see it through maybe our heart instead, or the eyes of love, or hearing through love. So I guess before we kind of wrap up, because have already spent an hour together, which just flies
Oh,
by.
sorry.
It's so funny how it just it's gone. But what are some of the things that you feel that you want our listener at home to maybe know about the self-love journey? For example, in your book, one of the things that I loved that you talked about was how, what people think of us is none of our business. And I think that,
It
almost to
is.
go full circle, in fact, is that we talked about that at the beginning of the show, didn't we? Where we often get
Yeah.
afraid or don't do things because of the way we're going to be perceived.
Yeah. And that was one of the hardest things for me to learn because I was always worried about what other people thought of me. I was always trying to either hide or make myself invisible because I felt I didn't fit in or I wasn't good enough. But
Yeah.
what other people think of me is really none of my business. It only matters what I think of me. And you have to love yourself. You have to find the ways to love yourself. Just self-acceptance, self-love. Once you actually find this beautiful way to go, I am beautiful, I deserve to be here, I'm an amazing person, I'm loving, kind, honest, all these things, you find these things out about yourself. People's opinions, it doesn't matter. That's their own view of you. And
Yeah.
you know yourself. You know yourself better than anyone else. So
Mhm.
get it all out, have a look. By all means, if you need help professional, I always would say go and talk to a life coach, talk to a counselor. But
Yeah.
these are all tools to help us find our true beautiful self within inside. And when you actually discover that beauty, you really don't need to listen. And guess what? You don't hear it because you don't go looking for it
Yeah, you
because
don't
you're
look
so
for it.
comfortable within yourself. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you feel so, so good.
Yeah. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I notice my mind sometimes. Well, a couple different thoughts here. So, number one, when everything's going awesome and I'm just living my best life and killing it, Sometimes my mind wants to create a problem or wants to look for a reason to create some kind of disharmony. So that often
That's your brain.
happens. The
That's not your
brain,
mind.
yes, not
That's
your
your
mind, your
brain.
brain. Okay, I like the brain versus the mind because I normally say two minds, but I like that brain versus mind. And then the other thing that I find sometimes happens is I'll be peaceful in my mind and then my brain will go, oh, we need to think about something. We need to think about something. And so that's why for me, I've really started to incorporate a high frequency mantra. So I use
Nice.
God. And I find that is, I connect with the word God. For some people, it's very triggering. So you can use whatever you
Yeah.
want, universe, angels, whatever. But when we start to go, oh, okay, I notice that my brain tends to do these certain things. I'm going to set myself up for success by maybe starting to practice these high vibe mantras or these beautiful affirmations like you just listed off earlier.
Nice. But your brain is looking out for you. So don't be too hard on your brain because your
Yeah.
brain wants you to be safe. So when you're feeling
Yes.
really peaceful and your brain suddenly comes in with, oh, better think of this negative thing in case it comes out, just go, hey, love your concern. You can back off a bit and go back into peace.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a little bit of acknowledgement. When we're going into meditation and the brain keeps clicking over, what have we got on the shopping list? Have we picked up the dog from daycare? All
Yeah.
these type of things go through your mind. You got to go, back off. I want to go to the nice place today. So
Yeah.
but you need to love your brain as well because it is keeping you safe. But as long as you understand, and again, it's all energy, as long as you understand, you control that and you can
Yeah.
say, thank you, acknowledge it, go away. And
Yeah.
you will just live your best life on your highest frequency and you'll find everything that you want will come in. You'll feel safe, you'll feel loved, you'll feel at peace, and things will flow into your life. And then suddenly, all these people that had opinions of you, they come in and they go, why is your life so good? Why are you so happy? Why did you get the house you really wanted? How come you're still married 30 years on and I've been divorced twice? I don't know. Maybe it's what I believe in and what I work
Yeah.
on and
Or
how I
they fade
connect.
away
But yeah.
and you never even see those people again, actually. That's
Oh well,
probably part of it as well.
that's very true. It's only when you go back to the school reunions that you go, wow, haven't I grown?
That's so beautiful. Kathy, how do you connect with your heart?
How do I connect with my heart?
We've been talking a lot about brain and mind. How do you feel into your heart?
Well, I think everything really comes from your heart. That's a really tricky question. No one's ever asked me that. Um, I was taught from a very young age to get into what Nana called our dream state whenever we wanted to connect in with our beautiful angels and loved ones and get advice. And I do it before every reading. And I teach people how to do it because I think it's really valuable. I just do the really calming breaths and you do all of the very, you have the intention and you set it all there and you breathe through your third eye and you align your third eye so it's all very open to receive. You make sure that you set everything up in your body in a good way so that you're very open. My heart chakra, whenever I'm going into a reading, I know your chakras are all meant to be of the same size, but I always feel my heart chakra is slightly larger. And I'm happy with that because when I know I'm getting good messages, my heart, I feel good, feel my
Yeah.
chest expand. I can feel the physical in the body, so spiritually and the physical. I don't know if that quite answered your question, but I feel like I always say things from the heart because that's the way I wish to be. That's the way I've asked to work. That's the way I want my life to live. I don't think I'm a mean, nasty, vindictive person. Could have been when I was younger before I did all this work, but I
Yeah, but you
think my
seem
heart
like
chakra
you
is
come
very,
at it, yeah, from your heart already, maybe. Whereas I
yeah.
I believe that, we can still be in our heart and still come at life from a loving place. But I notice the difference between when I'm in my heart space and I feel love and I feel that oneness with all that there is versus when I'm in my brain. I can see the difference. And I learned a technique recently from my friend Layla Taylor, and she was saying, coming into the heart, one of the things she does is she goes, focus on your big toe, your pinky
Oh,
finger, your heart. And now you're there. I went, oh, that's
Oh,
so cool.
wow.
And another thing that I learned was about, from Stuart Wilde, was about feeling for your heart beating. And it's, even just putting your hand on your throat and feeling the pulse, or on your, for me, it works really well in the throat, and feeling your heart beating and then connecting to your heart. And I remember when I did that, I just felt this
That would have been
such a
powerful.
deep connection with love. Yeah. But I think for
Yeah.
me, it's because I'm very often in my brain.
Wow. So you're a very logical person.
I am at times, but then I'm an empath, so figure that one
Overthinker.
out. Who knows?
You must always like to test things. Do you like to get lots of signs?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
See,
I can't
people
have
who are
one. I gotta have
overthinkers,
four.
yeah, people who are overthinkers, and they always want to know exactly the how, the why, the way. I'm just like, yeah, just bring it on now. Like, I'm very
That's
much,
great.
I don't need the signs. For me to ask for a sign, it has to be a really bad day, or I really need something, and you always have to remember to give them a timeline. And I don't ask for easy things. I ask for hard things. I asked for, like, I can remember I had a really bad reading once, and I just said to them, am I meant to be doing this? If I'm meant to be doing this, I want to find a coin with my year of birth on it, and I want to find it within the next 48 hours. I did this reading on the Saturday. My first reading on the Monday, walked in and she said, oh, I found this coin. I think it was a 20-cent piece. She said, on the driveway. And she said, I'll give it to you. And it had my year of birth on it. And
Oh,
I just
that
went,
is
right. Thank
awesome.
you.
That is
I know.
awesome. That is
It
awesome. One
is.
of the
It's
signs I gave my team one time, without going into the whole story, but I wanted an email. I said, I want an email to the Afterlight podcast talking about Lauren Grace. Because I was thinking of going Lauren Grace, like, because that's my real name, but I was just going to change my name publicly and just be Lauren Grace. Anyway, so this was going to be the fourth confirmation that they gave me. I said, I want an email that says something about Lauren Grace to the Afterlight, and I want it today, And I go and I check my email, and in my inbox, I've got an email from someone named Grace. And I just went, okay, I'll accept that.
yay.
That's good.
See, that's great. You gave a timeline, you told them exactly what you wanted, and they did it. So yeah,
They did it,
awesome.
yes. Well, I love talking to you, my sister. I know you'll be back again. I'd love to know whether or not the angels have any message that they'd like to pass along, or whether or not you yourself would, or both. And also, how can people get a hold of you, my sister?
Oh, well, anybody can find me. I'm just angelconnections.com.au. That's my webpage. Please feel free to drop by and see how I work. I always say it's always good to find the right teachers, and you're very drawn to the right people. Obviously, I'm drawn to you because I love your energy, Lauren. You're awesome.
You'll feel the same.
Messages. I've had Michael in my head all through this. He's just been laughing at all the mistakes I'm doing.
I thought you couldn't make mistakes.
Oh, yes, you love it. It's great making mistakes because then you learn from them and they're lots of fun. I just keep hearing in my head, you have to stop comparing yourself to others. Stop comparing yourself to others. I feel like that's a big problem in today's world, because we are
Yeah.
so global now, because we have such, we're able to connect into so many other different parts of the world. We really do look at other people, the way other people live, the way other people see things. And most of it is not real. He's saying fake, fake, fake. So most of it is fake. So we don't want to live a fake life. We want to live a full, rich, and loving. Thank you, loving life. I forgot
Yes.
loving. So really, just stop comparing yourself and just really be grateful for you. And today, write down something really cool about you. Write down if you like your new hairstyle, if your nose is the perfect shape, if you've got sexy earlobes, if you've got awesome toes. I don't care what it is. Write that down. Look at that for the next 24 hours. Every time you do, you will either laugh or you'll feel amazing. And that's the type of energy, that's the frequency that I want you to sit in, because that's what's going to attract the love, the happiness, the joy. That's what's going to make you feel really good about yourself. So, yeah. And there is always something that you like about yourself.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you, my sister. And I'll put all of the details in the show notes. And just, it's so funny. Kathy just looked up to the right and started laughing like at the air, which I just love.
Sorry.
That's so funny. I just got to tell the listener at home who might not be watching, because that was just such a cool moment where you were like, oh, I got you.
Yes, I'll have to give you a reading one day because so many people are like, are you talking to me? Because I just like mutter often when I'm talking to them, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. I
angels
do the
over here,
same.
loved ones over here.
I'm like,
Yeah,
got
I
that.
know.
Got that. Thank you. Thank you very much.